Hello and welcome to Darkside Scenics. In this video I'm going to run through the process of installing Peco bullhead points, DCC Concept point motors and Dapol motorised signals. Before I start, I just want to mention which type of DCC system I'm using. This is the Z21 Start, which comes with a basic hand controller which is wired. In addition, I picked up the Wi-Fi router. This meant that instead of the hand controller I could use the Z21 mobile app. I've only just started using the Z21 system, so I'm not going to go into great detail, but I might make a video on it in future. The Simon Shed YouTube channel has some great videos on the Z21, so I'd recommend looking at some of those if you're interested. And just a quick reminder to please subscribe to the channel and view some of my other videos. Any money I make from YouTube I put directly back into buying supplies to make more videos, so your support is appreciated. So, Unifrog points. They've been around for a few years and the bullhead range which I'm using on this layout seems to be growing. I've read in several places that Peco plans to replace their Electrofrog and Insulfrog points with Unifrog over time. With that in mind, I thought it might be interesting to show the process I went through as I learned to use all of these products for the first time. So the first thing to mention is that the frog is completely isolated in the factory. This gives you the option of leaving it dead like Insulfrog or using the wire here to make it live like Electrofrog. Looking at the underside of the points, you can see that Peco have pre-wired it to ensure all of the rails are live. And as I mentioned before, there's a long wire coming from the frog. This is the point spring which I'll need to remove because I'm using slow action point motors. When you attach rails to the joints using metal rail joiners, the power supply looks like this. And this is how the wires underneath are connecting the power. When the point is in this position and the train is running in the direction of the yellow line, this is how the point is powered. This red rail is redundant at the moment but is still live. I'm wiring the frog to the point motor to give it power, so when the point is in this position, the frog will be blue. So when the train runs in the direction of the yellow line, there are no dead spots. Now the point is in the other direction and the train takes the different route. It's as it was before, but now this blue rail is redundant but still live. And this time the point motor has changed the polarity of the frog to red. This means the train can take the other route without stopping or getting a short. I'm not going to rely on the metal rail joiners for power, so I'm going to add some dropper wires. Due to all the wiring done in the factory, I just need to add one to each stock rail. This is the frog wire, which is quite thin, but the only heat shrink I had which was small enough to fit was black. I'll go over this later with some green heat shrink, which is the colour of my frog wiring. After adding some flux and tinning the dropper wires, it's time to solder them to the rails. It's worth pointing out that I used blue on the illustration earlier because it's easier to see, but actually I'm using black wire. And now I can cover the frog rail joint with some green heat shrink and give it a quick blast with the heat gun. As shown earlier, this is the point spring which needs to be removed. They can be quite stubborn. This gives the point some free movement rather than being pushed to one side or the other. I had a spare piece of plywood which was perfect for creating this small test track. Moving on to point motors, I have a few of these from DCC Concepts and I have to say I'm very impressed with them. They have a simple set or run switch when you want to set the address on your DCC system. No soldering is required because they have these spring terminals, so wiring is very simple. For the basic wiring of a point you just need these 3 wires, but I also want to add a Dapol motorised signal. I wanted to see if the signal would move at the same time as the point without additional switches. Fortunately, there was a lot of information on forums from people like Richard at DCC Concepts. There are 2 yellow wires coming from the signal. One goes into the switch 2 common of the point motor. The second yellow wire needs to go into the switch 2 left and the switch 2 right terminal. For this, I cut 2 short lengths of yellow wire for the terminals on the point motor. Because this is just a test board, I joined them together in a connector block. When it comes to the main layout, I'll probably solder these together. The signal needs an independent power supply, with most people suggesting 9 volts. This battery pack is a temporary solution, but I do have a 9 volt transformer on order at the South Devon Railway Shop. I created this basic diagram to show clearly how it was wired. Now the wiring is complete, I can add the throw wire with the small screw provided. The fulcrum bar is slid into place on the point motor, and this gives you the opportunity to adjust the range of the throw wire. The point motor is put in position with the throw wire being fed through the hole in the point switch. A very useful self-adhesive pad is included, but I'm not going to waste it on this test board. I will use it on the main layout. The installation of the signal is very simple. It's a 14mm hole with a plastic nut which holds it in place. As before, all of the wires are added to the terminals on the point motor, ready for testing. So the board is flipped over and then connected to the DCC system to see if it works. Please ignore the type of signal and its position, as this is purely a test. You can see here you just touch the point on the app, and then fortunately the point and the signal moves. Before I can test the loco, I just need to snip off the excess length of the throw wire. This loco hasn't run on DCC yet, so I just need to quickly install a decoder. I just need to remove 2 small screws to access the inside. I already had a decoder, but as I found out, it was slightly too large to fit in this loco. The blanking plate is removed and the 8-pin decoder is installed. This is where I realised that I couldn't put the loco back together again with this decoder inside. So a quick trip to the South Devon Railway to pick up a smaller decoder, and it was all good. Once I'd set the address of the loco on the Z21 system, I could test it on the track. Happily, it went smoothly over the point frog without any issues. And as shown here on the app screen, the point is changed to allow the loco to take the different route. The point motor has changed the polarity of the frog, which allows the loco to run smoothly over the point. If the polarity hadn't changed, the loco would stop on the frog due to a short. And here's a different angle showing a better view of the point and signal change. Thank you for watching this short update, and I hope it was useful to show the process I went through with those 3 products. I'm actually really pleased that I've got to grips with that side of things, because I'm really excited to get on with the Staverton section of the layout. So until next time, thanks for watching.